In Teen Titans, Raven had never been afraid, or she thought she was, until one day during Fear itself, the incident where she'd been holding her fears in. Well, apparently she had claimed that she never got nightmares after watching horror movies and stuff. However, it was honestly something that she never really thought of it. But of course, just recently, Raven had been having nightmares about her friends of the Teen Titans dying at the hands of monsters. They all seem so real, but of course, most of them, she watched them get killed in many gory ways, but it was anything from any horror movie she ever could think of. However, though, it was one night where Raven was sound asleep in her bedroom. All the other Titans were in bed. Everyone was all quiet. However, Raven woke up in her room, unsure of what the sound was, thinking Robin was walking down the hallway. "Robin!" As Raven called out, there was no one there. No Robin, no Starfire, no one. Honestly, she checked the rooms of each of the Titans, but she couldn't find anyone. She honestly could not find anyone in the tower. She then walked towards each of the rooms, but there was no one. Like she did it twice just to confirm if this was real or a dream. It felt so real to her. She looked in the bathroom to find a bloody corpse of Starfire. Her intestines, organs were all over the place. It was a brutal scene that really made Raven sick, but also frightened at who or what could have done this to Starfire. She went to the garage next to see Cyborg. He was pretty much turned to scrap metal. He was pretty much turned into a box of junk. Well, pretty much a square of junk, like you'd see in stuff like Monsters, Inc. Then she goes outside to see Beast Boy, whose head was decapitated and used as a scarecrow, while parts of his body was there as well. She then looked to see that Tara had drowned in water. Obviously, her corpse looked like a shark had attacked. Honestly, Raven was only frightened, but was just heartbroken at who or what could have done this. But when she got to the living room, though, it was a lot worse. She saw that Robin had been a half-eaten corpse. Pretty much half his body was missing, only from his head and down to his torso was still visible. Honestly, she heard a sound, what sounded like really shriek and even really grumbling noises. Raven looked to see that it was a Wendigo that stood before her, just staring at her from the windows of Titan's Tower. Honestly, Raven had no idea how it was managed to float up without wings or anything. It shattered the Titan's Tower windows, and that's when Raven started to book it. Raven tried to escape the Wendigo, only seemed to get closer. Just as she thought she was cornered, she decided that she could fight it on her own. She did fight and lasted a while until the Wendigo slashed down across her stomach. There was traces of blood that escaped from the wounds that the Wendigo made. Even then, Raven was trying to get away, but of course she was slowed down due to the pain. It wasn't long until the Wendigo cornered her, and of course she was too weak to fly. The Wendigo, she was about to be turned into shreds just like her friends. By the time the Wendigo that stood before her, and as the creature lunged at her, everything went dark. Raven awoke in a cold sweat. Her heart was racing, and the feel of dread still lingering. She looked around the room, saw Robin in the corner looking at her with concern. This was weird because Robin never was up that late, and in fact, nobody was allowed to come in her room without permission. However, Robin was an exception since she trusted him the most. He honestly looked at her. "Raven, are you okay?" Robin asked. But of course, Raven didn't answer. She started to cry. This was something that Robin had never barely seen her do. She usually doesn't hide this, but this was the first time that she's ever revealed how upset she was and even crying. She was feeling alone and scared. Robin, honestly feeling bad, sat down beside her, and he pulled her close and cradled her in his arms, trying to comfort her as best he could. There. It's going to be okay, Raven. Nothing bad is going to happen to me or you or anybody. I'm going to make sure of it. But I'm just afraid the Wendigo might. Raven was obviously choking in her own sobs, couldn't get out the words. The Wendigo is not going to come here, Raven. We have all security in the Titan's Tower. Even if he did try to come here, he's not getting in. That is just a creature from a story. And you just had a bad dream. It felt so real, Robin, Raven said. Honestly, she was close to tearing up more. That's when Robin comforted her more by stroking the back of her head. He kept telling her and that he was there, and nothing was going to happen to her or her friends. After a while of comforting her, Robin didn't even let her go. Raven's tears eventually started to dry up and was ready to go back to sleep again. But she was just afraid. So, as awkward as Robin didn't want it to say, but at the same time he didn't want to leave his friend and so upset, he even had feelings of trying to get him to become his girlfriend. He volunteered to stay with Raven and sleep beside her for the rest of the night, just so making sure that she was safe. Of course, though, the horror of Raven's nightmare of the Wendigo still lingered in her mind. But with Robin by her side, and she finally felt safe, she knew that no matter what happened, the Teen Titans would always stick together and always be there for each other in the times of need. They were a family that no one has ever thought that they would become, even in their life.